Hey guys, we're here again today at HardRacing, and today we are working on these OTB chain adjusters with optional spool adapters. These are made specifically for the Grom. We also have sets for the Z125. They look very similar, almost identical, but not quite the same. We are going to do a video to show these, how they work, how they install, what they do, what makes them better. But basically, whether you have a Z125 or a Grom, you're in the same position because both those bikes have chain adjusters that just suck. They take two nuts to adjust them. The right side can creep forward when you're trying to tighten it down. They're not accurate. They're just a total pain in the butt. And the worst thing is when you take your axle out to change a tire or whatever you got to do, if you're swapping sprockets, they just fall out of the swing arm. So just total garbage, and if you haven't experienced that yet, consider yourself lucky, but they are just total crap. So these are just a huge upgrade. The beautiful about them is they stay in the swing arm. The plates pinch. They basically pinch these onto the swing arm so that way they don't fall out. That's the back side of it. That's the front side of it. They're super accurate. Of course, the best part about it is they're just one bolt adjust. Simple and easy to do with an Allen bolt, Allen key, and you don't have to do jam nuts, and you don't have to hope that one doesn't slide forward or backwards. It keeps it locked in forward and backwards, just the turn of a nut. The only key here that's important, just like any chain adjusters, make sure you loosen your axle nut enough to be able to slide the wheel back and forth. You don't need to loosen it all the way up so it's sloppy, but I've seen guys that think that they can adjust the chain while the axle is tightened down to 40 pounds, and you're going to destroy your chain adjusters. They're not made to pull a wheel back while the axle is crushed down at 40 foot-pounds. So loosen your axle nut before you make your adjustments. Make sure it's got enough looseness that you can actually slide the tire back and forth. Again, you don't have to have it sloppy, but you need to have the tension off of the swing arm so you can adjust your chain adjusters. Top quality craftsmanship from OTB. They're it goes without saying, anybody that knows their products knows that they really they fit the name of the company outside the box, and they go beyond. They don't just take somebody else's idea and just copy it. They basically make it a totally unique product. So you have the chain adjusters here, and then you have the optional spool adapters here. And those are going to bolt to the side of it. And what's really cool about these, that's unlike a lot of other brands, is you can pull the axle out, take the tire off, and still have these sitting on the spools on a race stand. Most of the other ones, they can't do that. You have to have the axle in them to do that, but for these, you don't. So a lot of special upgrades that you can have. And one thing for you guys that may not have used spool stands before, once you've tried it and used it, it's probably 2 to 3 times easier to put a bike up on a spooled stand, and it's way more secure. Traditional stands that go underneath the swing arm, if you wiggle the bike around, they can slide, and all of a sudden the bike falls off the spool. It can happen. It doesn't always happen, but it can, because you basically just got a pad underneath the swing arm, and that pad, as you bump the bike around or try to wheel the bike, on the swing arm, on the stand, the bike can crawl off the side of it, and then all of a sudden the bike falls over. Ask us how we know that. So having spools is so much easier to put on. Basically the stand locks into that spool and it can't slide off. Yes, you can kick the bike and eventually knock it off if you had to, but for the most part they stay locked on. So definitely a really nice bonus, besides having much easier to use, much more accurate chain adjusters. You get the bonus of being able to have spools as well. Something to consider also, why is the accuracy of chain adjusters important? Well, if your tire's a little bit off one way or another, your chain's going to wear out faster, your sprockets are going to wear out faster, and your rear tire's going to wear out a little faster. So having accurate chain adjusters isn't just something, oh, well, they're more accurate. It definitely makes other things last longer too. It makes your bike handle and perform better, having your tires both pointed straight as opposed to one's off. So something to consider, something to look at, but it's definitely a great product. Top quality, fit, finish, as always, from OTB, and we'll show you how quick and easy it is to install these next.
Okay, so the first step you want to do is loosen the axle nut and take it off. So you'll need a socket wrench, 19mm, and then a 14mm wrench for the backside. And make sure not to pull out the axle. All you're doing right now is just removing this washer. And the next step you want to do is take a floor jack and position it underneath the frame. And all you're trying to do is relieve pressure off the rear tire. So you're not trying to lift the whole bike up off the ground. All you're trying to do is relieve the pressure off of the axle, so when you go to pull the axle out, nothing moves. Alright, so one little trick that we learned is to take either a hockey puck like we did here or a small block of wood, position it in between the jack and the bike frame, and it'll help stabilize it a little better. And from keeping it, from sliding around. And again, all you're trying to do is just relieve the pressure off of the axle, so that all you have to do is just go like this. And if you can't do that, then either it's too high, been raised too high, or it's too low. And as you can see, this is why these suck. Okay, so now that you've got your axle out, what you want to do is slide in your new adjusters and then slide the axle back in. So when you're putting these things in, you want to make sure that the markings are facing outwards. Okay, so once you've got these in, you want to go ahead and put your axle back in. So once you've got your axle all the way through, go ahead and take your washer and your nut, put it back on, and just tighten it a few threads. You're not trying to tighten it down right now at this point, just enough to get it on there. So the next step, you want to go ahead and push your chain adjusters all the way forward, and there's a stopper on the back, and you'll know it's correct whenever that stopper is butted up against the swing arm. So the next step, you want to take the pinch plates and install that. And make sure that you have blue Loctite on all of your bolts. It's very, very important. So just like we've done here, but put it on all of the bolts. So for right now, we're just going to hand tighten these down, and then we're going to double check for the alignment, and then also make sure your chain adjusters are still pushed all the way in. So once you've double checked the alignment, you want to go ahead and torque these bolts down to 3 to 4 foot-pounds of torque. And guys, that's not a lot. So you want to make sure that you only do it 3.5 to 4 foot-pounds of torque. You don't want to over-tighten them. So again, I want to emphasize 3.5 foot-pounds of torque. That's not very tight, so make sure you don't over-tighten them. Just 3.5 to 4 foot-pounds. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So next we're going to install the spool adapters. Now if you didn't get these, then you're just going to skip this step. Okay, so next you want to go ahead and install these and just hand tighten the bolt for now. And again, really important, you definitely want to use blue Loctite on these bolts. And next you want to do the other side. Again, blue Loctite on your bolt and hand tighten again. Okay, so now you can go ahead and torque the bolts down to 11 foot-pounds. Again, 11 foot-pounds. Alright, so next you want to adjust your chain adjusters, and you can do that with any of these 6mm Allens. Okay, so the next step is, once you've gotten your tire nice and straight, is to go ahead and tighten your axle nut to 40 foot-pounds. Again, 40 foot-pounds.
Alright, and so that's our video on the installation of the OTB chain adjusters and spool adapters. Again, you can put these on the Grom or Z125. They're very almost exact same install. The only basic difference is the Z's are a little bit wider, but the concept's the same, and same huge improvement and gain and benefits on both bikes. Top quality fit finish, and just an awesome product. So if you enjoyed our video, please be sure to click thumbs up and subscribe. Also, if you can, leave a comment. We appreciate all the comments. And if you want to be notified for videos, go ahead and click that little bell logo next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an email when we make new videos. And be sure to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the forums on all of those. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, or anything else you need to know, or products you want, go ahead and just give us a call or send us an email, and check out our website at hardracing.com.